Hello Gemini, this is your October forecast. Also applies if you're Gemini rising or Gemini moon. The great news this month is that your ruler on October 10th goes direct, your ruler Mercury. So for the first 8 days of the month, we've got Venus still here in your third house. So this is nice for doing anything social, for meeting up with people maybe in your neighborhood, people around you. It's also very good for social networking generally. It's good for going on a course, learning something in a subject that you'd enjoy, that you would love. And it can also bode well for any kind of exams that you might be going through or tests. On the 9th of the month, we've got Venus coming into this fourth house. And there's a lot happening in the fourth house for you this month. Mars and Jupiter there all month, and Venus from the 9th. So big focus, and especially as they're going to be quite close to each other for those last 3 weeks of the month. So whatever Jupiter hits, it magnifies. So for you, there's going to be a big focus this month, Gemini, on your home, on your family. Many of you may be feeling a little impatient because Mars is there, and impatience with a certain situation connected with home or family. But equally, when Venus comes to join that energy from the 9th, that may soften a situation that might have been quite difficult for a while. Also, with Jupiter here and Venus, this could mean something nice, some good news happening for a family member, or maybe for a friend who feels like family to you. It may also, if you've been trying to do something with your home, beautify your home, renovate your home. Mars here is probably going to want to renovate, make some changes, do some repairs to your home in some way. I'm going to suggest wait until after the 10th, which is when Mercury goes direct, because sometimes there can just be, especially if it's signing contracts to do with renting or buying or selling a property, it's just best to wait, especially as it's your ruler, until Mercury goes direct again. That isn't to say that you couldn't sign a contract, but just very often there's something you might have missed out. And it may only be a little tiddly thing, but just a nuisance, and that you might have to redo. And Geminis, you are impatient and you hate having to redo something. You are so easily bored, you want to be on to the next thing. So that's one of the reasons I'm cautioning you more than I might do one of the fixed signs who isn't so impatient. So here we are with Venus and Mars and Jupiter together. This is an excellent time for those of you that want to move, maybe even want to move country. This would really be a good time to be thinking about that, or maybe even doing it. And many of you might be traveling for work during this time as well. So Mercury going direct from the 10th in this fifth house. So if there have been contracts or anything that's been on hold, it could move forward for you. It's also a good time when things can now move forward. The sun is there for the first 3 and a bit weeks of the month as well. So it's shining a light for you on what are you enjoying? Are you enjoying enough things in your life, Geminis? I know that many of you do really get to enjoy and try lots of different things, but maybe you're going to reflect on it for the first 9 days of the month, and after that you're actually going to maybe take up a new sport, a new hobby, just do something you enjoy, maybe do something cultural, creative. It's the fifth house is the creative house, and it's the fun house, and it's also the house that involves children. So maybe doing something more with children or young people. And if it's not children, then it's awakening that child within you. And on the 13th of October, we've got a new moon coming to join this Mercury Sun energy in your fifth house. So if you are creative, or if you've wanted to start a business, this fifth house new moon could help you to do it. a new opportunity, a new possibility. Now, of course, a new moon in the 5th house, it is the house of romance. So for those of you looking for romance and wanting romance, well, as long as you're putting yourself in the right places and possibilities for that to happen, this new moon can certainly bring it along for you. And it's also an opportunity to try out a new hobby, to try out something you've not done before. Always, whenever I get a new moon in this 5th house, I always try something new. Last time it happened, I started to go to comedy improvisation. It was so much fun. So think about something that will be fun, and then in true Gemini fashion, just decide to do it at the drop of a hat. On the 24th of October, we've got the Sun coming into this 6th house, shining a light on your work area. So this can be some good news connected with work, or also telling you to look at something. But often it is an opportunity. It's also shining a light on your health, on your well-being, saying to you, okay, Geminis, what else can I do to feel well? What kind of healing do I want to do? Is there something I want to change in my life that's going to give me more energy so that when I wake up in the morning, I really do feel as though the sun is shining on me? Maybe you could visualize the sun shining on you just as you wake up and also just as you go to sleep. That's a great thing to do with that sun energizing your 6th house. On the 27th of October, we've got a full moon happening for you in this 12th house. So the 6th and 12th house is being energized this month as well for you, particularly the last week of the month. So this full moon is shining a light maybe on something you haven't seen. It could be a skeleton in the cupboard, it could be something you've been pushing down and not wanting to look at. And the full moon may bring you just a very prophetic dream. It may bring you something that was hidden into the open. A secret could come out. It's also a good time to look at anything metaphysical, past lives, regressions, all those kinds of things that are unseen. Good time to look at research, any kind of a research project that you've been working on could come to fruition during this full moon at the end of the month. So all month we're under a very beneficial aspect between Jupiter making a trine aspect to Pluto. Pretty much all month. So for you, these two are very powerful aspects when they're happy together. This could in fact mean something connected with some good news financially. Maybe you'll sell a house and make a nice profit, or sell something and just do well with something. It could bode well for a business partnership or a joint venture, or anything connected with real estate in some way. Could be very good for you this month, Geminis. We've also got a different aspect, which is a square aspect. I always put squares in red because there's something we need to be alert to and aware of. We've got a square happening between Saturn and Neptune for the last couple of weeks of this month. And for you, it's happening to do with relationships and to do with work. So Saturn is very much involved with honor, integrity, keeping your word. You may find that people are not keeping their word, maybe making all kinds of promises. Neptune promises the world, and then when it's in square to Saturn, it may mean that they can't really keep those promises. So just make sure that you haven't overcommitted, that you haven't overpromised, and then later have to retract and maybe in Neptune fashion disappoint someone. So it can happen both ways. I think we'll also see this globally with leaders promising the world, saying they won't do this and that and the other, and then doing it and making us tighten our belts. So that's just something to be aware of, not to be frightened of, but to be aware of. I always believe in looking at all of the aspects and not just one thing, because sometimes it can be taken out of context. So, Geminis, I wish you a great month. I'd love to know why there are fewer Geminis watching my forecast than any other sign. It used to be the Aquarians and the Leos, but they've caught up and well overtaken you guys. So maybe some feedback, Geminis. Don't you like my forecasts? Is there something that's not okay, that doesn't appeal to Geminis? I mean, of course, I know there's still a lot of you that do watch it, but really, maybe there's some feedback that I need. So I'm always ready to improve and to make these forecasts better and more enjoyable for you. I wish you a great month. Thank you for commenting, sharing, subscribing, and even coming for your own personal in-depth reading. Bye for now.